I'm Professor William Burns, and this is our research lectures for week 2 of our case study in international tax and tax treaties, as well as domestic international taxation risk management. This lecture, we're going to focus on, as promised, LexisNexis. And I'm going to show you comparatively some tips and tricks that is going to help you to better undertake your research for this week. So I'm going to share my screen, and that's going to allow you to walk through the Lexis online through the web with me as I go through it. I encourage you to have your computer screen open as well, or a laptop, a secondary screen, and you also walk through Lexis to make sure that you can see and do the things that I can see and do. So how do I find Lexis? Well, one way is, of course, going to the Law Library webpage, which I've already covered in previous lectures. The second way is what I actually do. I just Google Lexis Law School. That's it, Lexis Law School. When you Google Lexis Law School, your screen page should look like the one that I see before me. Law School is at the top left-hand side of the screen, training, resources, and so forth. So I want to start with this screen because I want you to realize that there is training available on Lexis itself. So, by example, let's just say that I don't really remember what Shepard's is. I haven't used Lexis in 10 years. I don't remember, how to do citation or, what was that? I did that blue book once in law school, or the Texas Green Book. I don't really remember how to do expanders, or whatever your questions are. Lexis has Lexis training, and it'll bring you to the example videos on your screen before you that you can work through at your own leisure. But I'm going to show you a tip and trick later. So on this screen, I would go ahead and click Lexis Plus, and that will open me up a Lexis Plus front page, the general search page. For Lexis Plus, let's do a practice search and just see what comes up, and then we'll look at our other tabs you'll see on the screen before you. Because we're this week addressing in domestic tax risk management, we're addressing Japan and Korea in specific in tax linguistics with Dr. Majire. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search Japan ampersand tax, and let's see what happens. Lexis starts with select cases. So here's your first tip. You probably don't want any cases with the word Japan in it. They're all going to be United States cases. That's not what you're looking for. So I need to click next to the numbers. And when I click that little downward arrow, it opens up the menu of other types of information that the Lexis legal repository has on it. Today, we're only going to focus on treatises and information based on treatises, which is going to be my trick. So of these possibilities, I could see there's, briefs, pleadings, and motions, and go down the list, legal news, But what I really want are treatises, thus secondary materials. But there's still 10,000. I don't have time to scroll through that. And obviously I could use, and I'm going to show you a trick where to learn how to make good research queries on LexisNexis besides Lexis's training on the Lexis Plus website. Well, I'll just cut to the chase. We'll go look at YouTube in about 5 minutes. But for this 10,000 potential research, which I could never do, it'd take me a lifetime, I want to hone it down. I want to scope it down and find, see if I can get it down to like 50 would be good. So of the menu choices I have to scope it down, I could just search within results, as I mentioned, and start to refine my search. But I'm going to go to publisher because I'm familiar with research in the field of taxation, and I'm familiar with treatises and Lexis, of course. Of these publishers, I know, Oxford, Cambridge, those are going to be academic, theoretical, not really what I'm going to be looking for as a professional when I want to find out about tax and tax risk management, tax rates and anti-avoidance legislation in Japan, or how do I find the Japanese tax authority and so on. Matthew Bender. Matthew Bender is the treatise publisher trademark of LexisNexis. So when I click Matthew Bender, I see that there are 1,676 instances of the word Japan and tax being found in the same document within a treatise. Now, as you can just see on the screen before you, one chapter might be pulled up once, twice, and if I scroll up and down, I'll see maybe 3, 4, 5 times. A chapter is broken into sections. So one chapter may be 20 hits. So even though it says 1,600, if you shaved 10 off of that, you're at 160, but it's still too much. I can't, I'm not going to search through 1,600. I got to scope it down again. So now I'm going to go to sources. Under sources, I'm going to expand it to more and see what kind of, by name, by title, that Lexis has. So foreign tax and trade briefs, you're familiar with that now in the class because that's because I author that, or FATCA and the other books that, but I don't want to focus on my treatises. You'll get enough of that in your reading. But like, by example, Marshall Langer's book. Marshall passed this year. He's a great friend of the program for over 25 years. Really, we have old lectures of him and so forth. If you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see Marshall. Really, one of the grandfathers of the international financial services industry. So Rhodes and Langer is well known. Obviously, again, Marshall passed, and so he hasn't been writing that in a while, but it's kept up to date by Lexis and other people like me. If I have time to take that over, I don't. But tax havens of the world. I've heard my story about Walter Diamond and how I came about international tax. And so, obviously, nobody uses the word tax havens anymore. That's not a politically correct word, and they want to be international financial centers, which in general they are. But when Walter started that in the early 70s, it was referred to as tax havens. Tax havens was a good word. It meant was a haven from high taxation, which, as you've heard in previous lectures, reached 80, 90%. At least published rates on individuals, and very high corporate rates, 50, 60% actual effective rates for many countries. So they were looking for havens away from that, and governments wanted to encourage exports and or import, capital import, and so havens were a way to do that. And so, okay, so that book, and that book had many countries covered in it. I don't want to look at the specific books right now. I'm just pointing out that there are these other treatises, and I would say international business planning, but I took that one over, so I'm writing all that now, and well, guarantee it's up to date. But anyway, you can explore this on your own. This is not really our tip or trick. This was just scoping down. If I chose, let's choose foreign tax treasuries. Then I'm going to find the Japanese chapter pretty quickly. Let's unfind the Japanese chapter on tax and trade briefs and Rhodes and Langer. I'm going to find tax treaties because that's what Marshall wrote about, tax treaties on Japan. Okay, let's think about Japan and FATCA, Foreign Tax Compliance Act or Common Reporting Standard. We're going to find our FATCA chapter, and you're going to find Dr. Maji Ray, who is lecturing you this week. She's the author of the Japanese chapter, as well as the Korean chapter in the backup. And so, okay. So this is a way to quickly scope down using just Japan and tax, but it's not the most efficient, not the best way to interact per se with Lexis. So if I was back at my original screen of Lexis Plus, I go onto my main Lexis web page. I can scroll down and choose a topic area, so practice area, tax law. And if I choose tax law, this screen is going to open up. And these are going to be resources, generally speaking. This is all going to be United States taxation. Just telling you from experience. It doesn't mean I can't find Japan or the other treatises here and so forth. But in general, this is U.S. attorneys who are doing U.S. tax for domestic only, who are subscribing to LexisNexis, who are clicking as a practice area tax. They're not necessarily tax specialists. They're just tax as something as part of their entire portfolio of legal services or for a law firm. Yes, Lexis is tax specialty area, and we're going to see that. But I want to show you the opportunities within Lexis in general before we go to the specific. So again, this was the general practice area. If I click tax law. In a previous video, I'd clicked international law, so I'll just show you that again. If I click international, Lexis covers 100+ countries, but it doesn't mean it covers all countries very well. So countries where Lexis is very strong, United Kingdom, because Lexis bought a large publisher in the United Kingdom. In fact, all the Commonwealth, because Lexis is owned by Elsevier Reed. Reed is a UK company. Elsevier is a Dutch company. And so, by example, Butterworth's, which was the top tax product in all the Commonwealth, that includes the United Kingdom, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and so on. Lexis bought that, 20 years ago, probably, maybe more now. And so you have those types of materials integrated, or United Kingdom materials. But if you choose a country, I don't know, Fiji or Senegal, it may not be very strong. Okay. So I encourage you to explore the international, but that's not the tip or trick that we want to go to today. So here's our first tip and trick. I'm back to my, Lexis Plus website. What do I want to search today? I'm going to go to practice guides. Practical guidance, see? I'm going to click on that. My screen goes blue. And now I'm going to choose practice area, taxation. That's going to give me this screen. Now, because we're doing, remember, Japan and Korea research, I'm not going to go through the entire, practice guide and all the really cool forms and analytical materials and strategic materials on different, well, you can see on your screen right now, clauses, checklist, and okay. I'm just going to go straight to international tax. There are 115 practice notes under the topic international tax, which is under the topic tax, which is under practice guides, right? I've already opened some, so I'll just click to the screens. But the point is that I could have done a search and found these through a search, but I scroll down and I scrolled and I went through the 115 to see what kind of topics or country were available. So I scroll down. I'm seeing different project finance in international jurisdictions, real estate, M&A in international jurisdictions, private equity transactions, international strike. Okay, cool stuff. So, in fact, I think I opened, one of those topic areas is international tax issues and M&A. So I opened up that one and scrolled through that, and I thought it was a very well-written overview of obviously of M&A, and so these are kind of a table of contents, or I can shoot to other topic areas within the field of M&A internationally. But so when you think M&A in the United States, you might also think about conversions. Okay, so going through the actual article, though, it gives me plenty of links to the code articles, the Internal Revenue Code. So for many of you in the course who are not U.S. tax lawyers, here's if you're dealing with the United States, this is one way to interact within Lexis to find the code articles quickly, going through this practical guides to tax to international tax. And then it has, getting around the rules, kind of strategic thinking, planning early to mitigate the impact, and so on. Okay. But when I was looking at the practice notes, and then I chose international tax, I wanted to find countries. So by example, the first country I came across, or I'll scroll there so you can really see what I'm talking about, tax system guide, tax system guide, tax system guide, Q&A, tax system guide. So I scrolled down and found Korea. And so in the Korean, which is based on foreign tax and trade briefs, and my authors are PricewaterhouseCoopers there, they've done so this is a comparative Q&A that we've built across Lexis that gives you the down and dirty, 3-pager. So instead of reading a 60-page chapter, I just want to know, how do I find the link to the National Tax Service? Where's that information? What are the rates? Is there anything that I need to, up to date, okay, COVID for this year, everyone wants to know that. So that's been included in most of the chapters where they have a COVID for their national revenue or tax authority or what have you. Okay, so basically it provides you a lot of interesting links to where you'll find the variety of information about the country of Korea's tax system. But also, it gives you, again, the Q&A down and dirty. So what are the tax rates? What is, do they have a capital gains tax? What does that look like? And so forth. And then, so I'm not going to scroll down through the whole Korean thing. It's just to give you an example. So this is going to be about a bit longer. This is going to be 5-6 pages on the Korean system. So let's look at Japan. So here we have the Japanese system. And again, what if I want to know where the National Tax Agency is? And I can use Google Translate on that. But the website of the National Tax Agency provides information in English as well. Key for a non-Japanese speaker who's trying to engage with the information, or the withholding tax and so forth. That's relevant for you who are doing inbound planning in Japan. So again, we have our Ministry of Finance website we can link to, but we have the analysis. down and dirty. How are individuals taxed? What are going to be the rates? What are the bands that it applies to? Where did the information come from? Foreign tax and trade briefs, and so on. So if we scroll down, we're going to find, you know, again, six pages that are going to be a overview of the Japanese system without having to go look at a 50, 60 page chapter. It's going to be a good place to start my research. I also opened up China. I just wanted to show you, well, here's United Kingdom. Again, you know, it gives you, you know, H&M Customs, you know, an overview of the United Kingdom system. And then China. So with China, I just wanted to, I clicked on the website of the state administration for China. I clicked on it. Now, their information is surprisingly not in English. I mean that as a joke. Of course, not in English, but regardless. Actually, they, you know, they have kind of a Google Translate built into their website. So they haven't built a English specific website, but they have some, you know, general overview information. So on the Japanese government's, you know, taxation ministry website, I can click English, and then I'm going to find, you know, interesting information. So, okay, and I take it back now that I haven't looked at the website. This looks very much like they've been building it specifically for a foreign investor in English. It's not just merely translating the information of Japan. Well, I'm gonna find out real quick. Okay, so it looks like you know, they've been very focused on writing this for the non-Mandarin speaking marketplace. Okay, now another tip or trick, going back to my Lexis Plus, is to come to Lexis Tax Advance. This is the specialty tax site within Lexis. The information is the same, but the overlay is totally different. The overlay is for tax people. How did I find this? On the website, the main page, there's like a Rubik's Cube at the top. Click on it, and there's other Lexis portals available on Lexis. And the one I chose was Lexis Advanced Tax. And that brought me to this Lexis Nexus page. So this is its own overlay, as I mentioned. It owns search engine. It's you know, it's really meant to make your life easier as a tax person, except the front page of it is federal, meaning United States only. And you're looking for Japan or Korea. So this is a trick. You would, I mean, this one is not, I would say, obvious. Intuitive is the word. So I click on practice area at the top left-hand corner, and I see US International. So is that only US inbound, outbound? No, it's actually all international tax material on Lexis. It's just called US International. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see what that screen brings me. And here I see a variety of Lexis available materials dealing with foreign and US actually US inbound and outbound, but also foreign tax law and analysis, because big old block right in front of you. Now, if you didn't know, yes, you can move around your screen in Lexis, because maybe I want my foreign tax law up top. So as you just saw, I actually moved it. So I'm going to click on the little arrow, and it's going to scroll me down all the variety of materials, treatises, and practice guides with foreign tax law and analysis. Now, the same materials again are, you know, you get through Lexis Plus, by example, by doing a search for Japan and tax and scrolling down. Okay. Now, that's one group of materials. Yes, another trick. There's a totally different group of foreign materials on Lexis. It's under the U.S. international tax law. So treatises and practice guides, once more. And that's where I'm going to find treatises like Rhodes and Langer, our treatises, so Lexis Guide to FATCA and CRS, foreign tax and trade briefs, transfer pricing, international business planning, which I mentioned, which I took over and redid all the tax stuff, money laundering guide for the banks, and so on. If we scroll down this. Now, within, one of the reasons I wanted to show you the Lexis Tax Advanced, though, is because it has very good news. News repository. The news repository is Law 360 Tax. Now, if I, were to scroll down, it's going to give me a kind of a, all the articles that were published on September 1st, since today is September 1st. We're going to go down, scroll down, and we're going to see all the articles, and that's pretty, well, take me a while, right? Now I can click on the right-hand side of the screen for just titles, because I don't need this space, right? So I can at least get more titles on the same page. Still, it's going to be a lot of scrolling, right? So I could, go look to see jurisdictions, and what do I find? A lot of U.S. because mainly it's for U.S. people. I could go down and try and scope down my Lexis News. But in my case, I'm going to go back to my just main practice area. So I'll just click home. Brings me back to federal. I'm going to click on my news again. And instead of going to Lexis and scrolling through like I just showed you, I receive the headlines every day on my email, and I can more quickly just scroll through my email. I can refine what I want. So I can only choose international from tax authority. I can choose the domestic. I can choose state and local if that's my thing. I can really hone it down. I can do that in Lexis in general, but I won't only get news there. Or I'll get news that isn't necessarily tax news, meaning I can set up, what we call client alerts. So I could set up an alert to come to my email every day, searching the word Japan and tax on Lexis. That would not be a good idea because there's too many resources. It would just give me a lot of gobbledygook. But if I, become effective at LexisNexis, then I can learn how to set great client alerts that are, very specific and really going to hone down on what I'm looking for and deliver me that inbox that I want every day for those topic titles. But how am I going to learn to do that? Well, I showed you the internal training of LexisNexis, but the other tip and trick is that's the internal one, is Lexis on YouTube. So I just, go to YouTube, I search Lexis tax or, training on Lexis, Lexis training, any of those terms, and it's going to pull up the LexisNexis legal page. And on the LexisNexis legal page, I chose the video, Introduction to Lexis Advanced Tax, and that's going to walk me through in a little 3.5-minute video what I need to know about that. And then I wanted the international tax specific practice area of Lexis Advanced Tax. And so I got another 4-minute video on the YouTube Lexis legal website that'll walk me through, again, less than 5 minutes to kind of get a look and feel of what kind of materials and how I search in LexisNexis. So those are the kind of tips and tricks that I'd like you to explore this week to help you be a better researcher. So we went to Lexis Plus, we went to the tax law tab, we went to the international law tab, we did the Lexis advanced tax, but I also showed you the practice guides, which were pretty cool. So with those like 4 tools in mind, you're only going to have time to use, let's say, 2 of them this week. So don't go to the tax tab on the main page. Don't go to the international countries page with all this list of countries. Go to the Lexis Tax Advanced page. Go to the practical guidance page, like I showed you, and pull up the tax systems portfolio for, by example, Korea. And once you get the hang of that, you'll be a better researcher. And of course, you're using other systems as well, like IBFD and Walters Kluwer CCH, which is the portal is now called Cheetah. And I showed you that in a different video. But finally, let me end with this. I'm stuck. I don't know how to find what I'm looking for on Lexis or what have you. I looked at YouTube, but I want to do I want to really get a specific query search. Lexis has a 24/7, 365 day a year. I have called it at all hours of the day from all countries. I mean, 3 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. And I've gotten through to Lexis. Sometimes you have to wait maybe 30 seconds, but really rare waiting. And but I can also, well, I'm doing the help, but I can also actually go into Lexis. I'll do it here instead of going to the help page. And I can live chat. I don't have to literally call them on my mobile phone or Skype into them or what have you. I can just go chatting, and for me, the chatting is actually more effective. If I want to hear a human voice, fine, but a human voice can't send me a link. A human voice can't write me a query that I can copy and paste and do it myself. So I can do that in the live chat. So the live chat for me is actually more interesting than I used to just only call. And it's like, if I can't talk to a human, I have to think it out. Well, you know what? I can think it out on the live chat support as well. So 24/7, 365, they got, literally hundreds of attorneys, professional research attorneys, sitting behind the office, helping people call every day, whatever, a couple million Lexis subscribers, probably more than that worldwide. And somehow they managed to cope with the and scale for the income. I hope you found this useful, and I hope it helps you obviously with your case study this week. And if you have other research questions, we'll be dealing with these. Post them in your discussion forum for the case study, that I can help address them in videos for week 3, 4, 5, and 6 and onward. Thank you very kindly. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Sign off. Dig 'em.